Hello and welcome to another edition of the Lost in Possession Football Podcast. Three mates, three different teams, three very different opinions. On this episode, we discuss the big one of the weekend, the FA Cup, the 150th FA Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool. Will Chelsea get their revenge or will Liverpool reign supreme? We will also be discussing the big English League playoffs that are now coming up over the weekend and into next week. Of course, we'll be discussing the Championship. Can the mighty Forest make the final leap they need into the Premier League, or will the low-budget Luton somehow find a way through? Of course, we'll cover the Sunderland and Wickham League One playoff final, and of course, we will also cover the League Two. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. The big one this weekend, Saturday, 4:45 p.m, FA Cup final. Reece, we'll begin with you. Talk me through the game. What's your predictions? Where do you see this playing out?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's one of the most intriguing FA Cup finals in a very long time. Both teams have done very well to get there. Liverpool are, of course, still on for this quadruple, but I think we've seen in recent weeks that they're very, very wobbly, very shaky. This is a repeat of the League Cup final we saw earlier in the year, so I think Chelsea are definitely going to be up for it as well from their side. If I'm not mistaken, this is Tuchel's fifth final as Chelsea manager, and he's only been here about 15, 16 months, which is very impressive. I think it's a tough one to call, but I think because Chelsea don't have the pressure on them as much as, say, Liverpool do, I think that plays in Chelsea's favour a bit, like it did in last year's Champions League final. I think Chelsea could win this. I think it will go to extra time, like it has done. When the teams have played each other, there's not been an outright winner at all in this season, both in the league being draws, and of course it went to penalties in this. So I think Chelsea are going to get themselves over the line on this one.
Jamie?
Yeah, it's going to be a good sort of final. Obviously, I prefer if City had got there themselves, but can't be it. You can't win them all. With Liverpool, I think they haven't been playing in their best form, which is why I do think it will be a close game. I did agree with Reece when he actually said, I think it going to extra time. I was thinking the same. However, I see Liverpool coming out on top of this. Now, to be honest, I'd like nothing more than this quadruple stopped. Just stop it at the first opportunity. Obviously, we can help that on the weekend as well with the Premier League, but I want it stopped. I want it out of the way. I don't want it discussed. However, I do see them winning, but there is I don't know the Chelsea side of things, but Fabinho is injured from the midweek game. I know Kovacic went off, both of them at the exact same time at the minute of the games. But I think Fabinho is a huge loss to that midfield, Liverpool. So that's where I'm I think it will be close. And if Chelsea can dominate the midfield, they're going to have a lot. They're going to do very well, I think. But I'm still edging towards Liverpool. I just think they're such a formidable side. And I think if one team's going to just get that goal, one extra, I just see it being Liverpool with their attacking options. It'll probably be Diaz, Mane, Salah up front, and all three of them can score out of absolutely nowhere. Whereas I think Chelsea can lack that at times. And it's been shown a few times in the season where they probably could have just won a game by scoring a few more goals. But Lukaku seems to be hitting some form. I know it was against Leeds. It was against Leeds, but yeah, you've got to score goals, don't you? Now, George, obviously, we probably know where you're going to come down, but give us your sort of lowdown of the game.
It's a huge game for both sides. It's going to be ridiculously tight. I think I can't see a team winning it by more than a goal on either side. I'd make the argument now because of the way, obviously, losing the Carabao final to Liverpool as well, and the fact Liverpool obviously have the Champions League in a few weeks. I do think now this is a more important game for us to win. Although, yes, we've won the Super Cup. Yes, we've won the Club World Cup. I think this FA Cup, just the way I'm looking at it is we've played Liverpool now this season for over 300 minutes, about 5 hours or so, and you cannot split us at all. So I'm saying, look, kind of law of averages, they won the Carabao. I think we will just about get over the line somehow. It will be a lovely send-off. Obviously, a lot of our players' defence, a lot of our defence is kind of sailing off into the sunset of Spain. So it'll be very nice if somehow on their last kind of competitive big game, you know, Aspi, Rudiger, Christensen can win us a trophy. I think Fabinho's definitely a loss for Liverpool. I think that there's rumours of Kante and Kovacic maybe being out as well. So without either of those two, I think again we could struggle in the midfield. But ultimately, we need to win. We said it on a previous episode. I think this is our third FA Cup final in a row, and we've lost. Although that's great, maybe fifth FA Cup final in 6 years or something crazy. But the last two we've lost, which, you know, you can't lose three in a row. To get there is brilliant, but I think to lose three finals in a row and two finals to Liverpool in the same season would be devastating. Yeah, we're a big game team. I think we will find a way somehow to get the job done. And yeah, I don't know. Wembley's kind of our home, but we need to turn it into a fortress. But yeah, confident. I'm going to go for my score prediction, 2-1 Chelsea. What are you guys saying on the score predictions? And then we'll move swiftly on.
Yeah, like I think I'm just going to go the reverse, 2-1 Liverpool.
Reece?
Oh, God. Cagey affair or an open affair? I'm going to say 1-1, extra time. Chelsea nick it.
All right, 2-1. That means we're definitely winning.
Kepa going to score the winning penalty, you know?
Don't. Keep him on the bench this time, please. I don't want to see penalties again, but
I don't think we'll be doing that again.
Based on how you can't split us at the minute though. All season long, every game's been a draw right to the death. So yeah, hopefully we get an entertaining tie. But moving on from that, so the playoffs, the Championship playoffs. Obviously, it's been a very exciting season. Fulham absolutely phenomenal, scoring above 100 goals. Sensational return to the Prem. You've got Bournemouth, who just about got over the line. But we've got very interesting playoff ties. So Luton versus Huddersfield is the first one. That's coming up tonight with a follow-up on Monday. And then we've got Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest playing on Saturday and Tuesday. Who do you guys see making it through back into the Prem?
So I'll start off. Well, it's actually really tough to call looking at all these teams, to be honest. Obviously, you had, I think all of them, I don't know if Sheffield United were, I think the other three were all third at one point. So they're all been top teams in this league, and I think deservedly they are the ones in the playoffs. In terms of, it's really tough to pick. I'm probably just I'm gonna go with Nottingham Forest, to be honest. I think they've got the firepower that I think will get them through, being the top goal scorers out of them and only one less than Bournemouth. So yeah, I think Nottingham Forest are going to go and do it, but it could generally be any of these four teams. I think it's really close.
Yeah, you never know with the playoffs, to be honest. Reece, what do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm going to say Nottingham Forest. I think mentally they're going to be a bit devastated. They missed out on second place, just at the skin of their teeth, and obviously they ended the season on a bit of a whimper. But I think they're the best team out of the four. Sheffield United have been a bit more resilient lately, especially beating Fulham on the last day, whereas Huddersfield have been consistently good all season. Luton are a strange one because, again, they got in there right at the end, a very fluky goal against an on-the-beach Reading, and but they got thrashed by Fulham just before that. So I think as well as they've done, their squad's only worth 1.2 million. As well as they've done, I think they're going to come unstuck. I think they could get to the final. I don't have a doubt in that. But I think it's going to be Forest.
Okay, I hate to say it, but I do agree as well. I do just think that, I mean, we've got to give a shout out to Steve Cooper. I can't remember the exact breakdown, but Forest were having one of their worst starts to a season ever, I think. So to not only come in and turn them around and get them out of sort of relegation form, to turn them around and go on probably the biggest momentum swing in Championship history, could be wrong on that, but it's phenomenal. And you'd also, the fact that Nottingham Forest was so close as well to going up automatically, it is a real testament to what that team and manager has achieved. I do think overall they will have the quality to get through. But just a couple of stats quickly on this. So we've got to give a ridiculous shout out to Luton, right? So just going to read off the cost of the squads, right, that obviously got through in the Championship this year. So the cost of Fulham's squad, 158 million. Bournemouth, 125 million. Sheffield United, 101 million. Nottingham Forest, 36 million, which is pretty impressive. And Luton, 1.5 million. So what they've pulled off to even get to the playoffs alone is absolutely sensational. 1.5 million cost of squad. Absolutely punching above their weight. And if by some miracle they can get into the Prem, I mean, wow, that would be one of the greatest kind of footballing underdog stories we've had for a good few years. So I'm secretly hoping maybe Luton somehow pull off the miracle. But for me, and we all clearly agree, Nottingham Forest are probably the favourites to make it back to the Prem. And they're a big club. I'll get the dig in early for both of you, but Nottingham Forest have won more European trophies than City and Arsenal combined. So they are a big club in terms of history. So it'll be good to see them back in the Prem. Swiftly on to League One. Sunderland till we die. Sunderland v Wickham are in the final of the League One playoffs. The documentary stopped, but will the fairy tale continue for Sunderland? Reese, yes or no?
Yes. Although my friends from Newcastle would not like to hear it, I think they're going to do it. Even though their record at Wembley is appalling. I mean, it's genuinely one of the worst I've ever seen. They did win on their last visit there, and that was the Johnson's Paint or the Papa John's Trophy. So I think what Alex Neil's done in a short space of time has really rejuvenated that team, got them on all firing on all cylinders. Ross Stewart is a fantastic striker. They've got good players, and they've finally sorted out the mess of when they came down to League One, trimmed the squad, got in better players. I think this is for them. And also, let's be honest, let's look at the statistics of Wickham, how they shouldn't be anywhere near where they are by the way they play, but they're there. They deserve to be there. But I think it's going to be a bit too much for them. I think Sunderland know that this is their best chance to get out of this division.
I was going to touch on that with the MK Dons. Obviously, that looked like just a massive upset. I think you sent us a stat in the chat where it is sort of in the league, all the sort of stats you'd want. MK Dons were like near the top first, and Wickham were near the bottom. Yet they were somehow both in the playoffs, and fighting for the championship, like promotion. I'm actually going to go against the favourites. I'm going to go with Wickham are doing it. They're just grinding out results, and it'll be a great send off to Akinfenwa in his final game.
Oh yeah,
I think he's 40 years old, and he could do it in his final game. The promotion to Wembley, and it'd be a great send off for someone who's a big character in football. That's who I'm going to go for. George?
It goes to show that stats aren't everything in football. If you look at Wickham, even with Luton in a way, a sense of togetherness and belief can really take you a long way, like a mentality side of things. And, I think fair play to Wickham.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much on the fence on this one. I think Stats-wise, obviously, Wickham have ranked low in everything. So they're very much a kind of old school, long ball, maybe unattractive football team. I am going to just about go with Sunderland. This is a tight call for me. I think going back to Wickham above punching above their weight. Wickham, you're right, Jamie. They're grinding out results. They're proving they can get it done in the big team, in the big games. I mean, that second leg against MK Dons, my word, they were absolutely battered, but they held on and they got through. For Sunderland, this is all or nothing, to quote another documentary title. This really is do or die for them. And to that effect, the pressure of this tie could weigh heavily on them, which is a factor. However, depth and quality, I'm just going to go with the Sunderland win. It will be tight. Could go all the way to penalties.
Neil does have experience. Alex Neil does have experience in getting out the playoffs. So I think that's what will help get them through. So I think hopefully that eases the pressure they feel.
Wicked. And last but not least, we've got to discuss the League Two playoffs. So they're still at the kind of semi-final stage. So the teams are Northampton versus Mansfield in the first tie and Swindon versus Port Vale. So we'll each go through and just predict the one team we think will make it all the way through to League One. Jamie, kick us off.
Well, every time we've been looking for a bet this season, I've been putting Port Vale in. And at the start of the season, I didn't realise until you sort of said it. And then the next week I was looking at stats and stuff and I was like, yeah, I want Port Vale in it. So they're my boys this season. So I've got to back them. They're going to do it. They actually messed up and they should have probably got the automatic. Their second last game was against Newport County at home, and if they'd won that, they'd actually be through already. They'd be promoted already. So it was a bit of a disappointment, but they bounced back against Exeter, who were trying to win the title, and stopped them. I just think Port Vale are going to do it, and my betting, they're going to keep me good.
Got to back them.
Got to back them.
Reece?
This is probably the one I think where all four teams are as good as each other. Mansfield have got Nigel Clough. They've been fantastic. Swindon have been a bit of a yo-yo club between those two divisions, but again, still have some good players. Port Vale have a good coach and have put some good players together, but the way they threw it away late towards the end, I think, will not help. I'm going to go with Northampton just because I think they are the best of the four, although they'd be devastated to have lost their automatic promotion in like the worst possible way. Like that would crush anybody. But I think Northampton have got enough about them to get out of that division. But them playing Mansfield is a ridiculously hard tie.
Yeah, personally for me, for Northampton, I think that's too much of a psychological blow to come that close and win 3-1, and then Bristol Rovers win 7. It's just absolutely insane, and I don't think you recover from that. Although they'll feel like, they've got a point to prove, I think that's going to cripple them, and I don't think Northampton will win it. So I'm going to stick with Jamie on this one. Port Vale, the boys, they're in a lot of markers as well. 9 times out of 10 they delivered. I think the momentum and form they've got throughout the season and the quality, I think they will get the job done. And maybe they'll have to not be in our Aracas next year because they'll be in a tougher league. But yeah, that wraps us up for this week. So we just about as a group agree that Port Vale will get through. Sunderland will just edge through in League One. We all agree Forest will make it through back into the Premier League. And 2-1, we think Chelsea might just edge out Liverpool at the weekend. For my sake, I'm going to the game. Let's hope that happens. As ever, please do comment on the socials on YouTube. Let us know your thoughts, what you agree with, what you disagree with. Feel free to send us abuse if you don't agree with us. Absolutely fine. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn the bell notification on. You know the drill.
Here we go.